Hello, Lee here. I wanted to make an update video for my Deathstar model. So, I'm just getting my hot glue gun. I'm not sure how much of it I'll be able to get through today, because I have to actually prepare the pieces that I'm attaching to the model, but that's fine. Anyway, how are you? How's your week been? Mine's been pretty interesting. I've been in and out of psychiatric hospitals to help myself basically with depression and anxiety and some thoughts that are unhelpful. I've basically been into psychiatric facilities looking for some glue sticks that aren't filthy. I don't know why they've gotten dirty. Anyway, yeah. Generally going into these facilities is okay in my experience. I don't find them unpleasant. Let's move that light so that I can you see the vessel? You probably can. You certainly see the glue gun. Yeah. Going into one of these places initially is a little frightening because it's quite different. So there's a stigma to mental health issues. No, there shouldn't be, but there is. So going into a mental health hospital is a little alarming because you don't quite know what you're expecting. And unfortunately, there have been many movies made where we've gotten to see how these videos are made, how these places are run, and they're not good. Unfortunately, a lot of the ideas are from very early psychiatry, and we were not kind to people. Yeah. So you go into these places with a fear that some of what has been seen on TV and in movies will be the experience. Now, when a person goes into an institution, you're basically going into hospital. It's a regular hospital. Alright, anyway, let me come back to that. What I've done is I've cut pieces of cardboard about this length, different lengths, so that the thing doesn't look too symmetrical. And then I've cut them so that the spine of the corrugated cardboard is cut along each one. That makes it easier for me to flatten these out, and it makes it easier for me to bend the cardboard, and it also gives it a less kind of rigid, solid look. What I'm doing is gluing them on over the whole of the Deathstar model. I apologise, I still don't have a better camera yet, otherwise I would be doing this more on camera. I'm sure that you folks will forgive me. So yeah, psychiatric hospital. It's frightening because you don't know what you're going into. Alarming because you're going to be putting yourself under the control of doctors and psychiatrists, and we are conditioned in our society to not trust such people. If you don't believe me, look at people's attitudes towards therapy. Therapy is considered in our society to be, well, a crutch rather than something that's needed. Again, the stigma of mental health. You know, I don't talk to my family about my mental health because I'm ashamed of it. There's absolutely nothing that, and I've thought about this a lot, there's nothing I would have done differently had I had more control over my mental health issues. Let me rephrase that. I think I did what I could. So anyway, we're starting to get the look now. You can see we're starting to get some strands of glue. It's starting to build up an area. There's nothing I could have done differently. I've had treatment for my mental health on and off for much of my life, but only really now is that treatment focused on getting me to the point where I'm to the point where I'm able to consider what life might be like beyond having a mental health condition, what I can actually do. Question occurs to me, do I consider myself broken? Actually, yes, I do. I consider myself damaged by my mental health condition. And the pain of that is very real. It's not the pain of someone in massive physical pain. It's the pain of lost opportunities. It's the pain of not being able to hold down a job, of struggling to hold down a relationship. It's the struggle of blaming myself for having this condition. And really, in my family certainly, mental health is hereditary down my mother's line. I may be offering too much information, but I certainly know that certain members of my family have had mental health conditions, have ongoing mental health conditions, and I'm fortunate because I'm getting treatment for mine. I come from a family where what you do with a problem is you drink it away. That may have changed now, but my experience, that was my experience. My parents tried to understand, but in the end, I don't think they can. I think having a son with a mental health condition like mine is frightening, honestly. I think as people, they have to consider what I can do. The idea that their son is disabled, I think, is pretty horrific for them. And I do consider myself disabled by this mental health issue. I can do most things, but what I am is unreliable. I'm not lazy. I'd like to have a job. But honestly, my capacity for working a regular job is fairly limited. I did well as a bartender. I know I did. I allowed customers to pressure me into taking on too many shifts, and that was the end of that. So the point now with the model, let me give you more of an update on what I've been doing. Just keep adding and adding and adding, and eventually, once this has been done, I will put a skin of cardboard over not cardboard, of paper over the top of this, and that will just smooth out any strange lines. Yeah, and I just keep adding more bits, a little bit of creative license here and there, where I'm making the model asymmetrical, and when I'm adding kind of sections of the construction. I want it to look like a construction, a building under construction, a building that is a mile wide, if not more. I'm not sure how big this was. I could probably look it up. But generally I feel okay. So 2 lessons I've learnt about myself whilst at these hospitals. One is that I thrive on being busy, and I struggle if I'm not keeping myself busy. So I need to have a set list of tasks that I'm going to perform daily to get myself to keep myself healthy, basically. I'm basically going to keep going here until I've covered, I've used up all the pieces that I've cut, and then maybe tomorrow I'll sit and cut some more. I think one of the things that I have is, it takes me, anyway, yeah, let's keep to the subject. We can talk about other things another time. So I keep the two areas. One was keeping myself busy that I need for my own peace of mind, and I have a list that I'll use to help me fulfill that. Sometimes I forget that hot glue is hot. Not the smartest of moves, but it is what it is. The other was about happiness. I found a book in the respite centre that I was just staying at by the Dalai Lama about happiness. It's called The Art of Happiness. If I knew how, I'd put a link at the bottom, but written by Howard C. Cutler and the Dalai Lama, called The Art of Happiness. And it talks about how happiness is what everybody is seeking. You may or may not agree with that statement, as is your want. And how happiness comes from our perspective, how happiness actually flows from our own compassion for other people and ourselves. And if we allow ourselves compassion, and we allow other people our compassion, it makes my life easier to deal with. The importance of compassion is highlighted in the book, and it's really something that we don't in our society value all that much. But I like this concept of compassion being important. Because there is a lack of compassion in our society. There is a lack of wanting to see things from the other person's point of view. There's a lack of treating people like they're human beings and not their ideals and their actions. And I think that's very damaging to society. Anyway, let me show you where we are up to. So that's the panels that so far we've got, and I've got to go around the rest, cut some more of these sticks of cardboard to go over the top. But yeah, we'll talk about more about this maybe tomorrow. Bye bye now.